Did you know the disciples were likely teenagers? Jesus and his disciples were traveling to Capernaum, and they went to the temple, and the religious leaders there asked for temple tax. This is in Matthew 17, verses 24 onwards. And one of the collectors of the tax comes up to Peter and says, "Does your teacher not pay the tax?" And Peter's like, "Well, yes, of course he does." And this is where we get the familiar story to some, where Jesus says, we don't want to cause offense. He gives a little parable about stuff, but basically says, "Peter, go catch a fish, and in its mouth you'll find a coin, and this will cover the payment for myself and you," for Jesus and Peter. Now, what has this got to do with the age of the disciples? Well, in Exodus 30, verse 14, it's among the stipulations of the temple tax and in the law that Moses laid down, and you had to be over 20 to pay it. So the implication being that when Jesus and his disciples come to the temple in Capernaum and the tax collectors come and say, pay up, give me your temple tax, they only ask Jesus and Peter to pay. Why not the rest of the disciples? Because they were likely under 20. We're quite commonly seen in pictures of religious art is pictures kind of like this of Peter and disciples looking old with big beards and things like that. And that's the sort of common image we have when we think of the disciples and the apostles of Jesus, that they were probably, late 30s or something, same age as Jesus, going on probably 40. They all look quite old in these religious pictures. If we consider them as teenagers, between probably the ages of 15 to 19, then it sort of explains some of the behavior we see in the Gospels. Like Jesus calling them the sons of thunder, James and John, is it? They probably still got quite a hyperactive nature. They argue amongst themselves about who's the greatest and things like that. It's kind of immature kind of behavior. And when you start thinking of these as teenagers, and if you've ever done youth work, it all makes a lot more sense. If you've just got teenage children, you probably recognize some of the behavior as well. So there you go. Just a quick little tidbit of information about the New Testament that might give a whole new spin on it when you read the Gospels and you think, actually, these could be the same age as yourself, even if you're young and watching this, maybe your own children. Maybe it'll just give you some inspiration that the younger generation can follow Jesus because they did follow Jesus. And also, you may have noticed I am on brand today. And if you like this and you would like something like this, then you can get your own merchandise from my Patreon, which you can find by going to the link in my bio and looking on my Linktree profile there. And by signing up there, not only do you support the work I do, but you'll also get some behind the scenes things. You'll get previews to books and upcoming projects I'm working on before others, and you'll also get some freebies like free ebooks or whatever else I might have. And the longer you support, the more free merchandise you get as well.